All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. So this is the Fearless Immunity Masterclass, looking to strengthen your natural defenses through introduction of the 5 essentials. This is the first kind of masterclass that Max Living as a whole is doing. It's not just something that, I would love to claim that it was my idea and it was Dr. Leanne's idea, but Max Living, always doing such a great job. Hey, Shelby, how you doing? If you are in and you're watching, go ahead and give us a shout out. I see there's probably 5 or 6 of us, so that's awesome. Thank you for joining me tonight. So Max Living decided, let's try something different. Some of you who have been patients for a while know that once or twice a year, we'll do one of our makeovers. And it's like 2.5, 3 hours long worth of a bunch of information. And a lot of that information, because there's so much, can come at you really almost like a fire hydrant to the face. And Dr. Leanne and I are always asking, like, hey, what was your biggest takeaway? And when you're in one of those 3-hour long master classes, hey, Jack, right back at you, buddy. Appreciate you too. Thanks for coming. It can sometimes be difficult to pick just one thing to take away and implement with changing something that you can do to promote your health. So breaking it up over the course of 6 weeks, we're hoping to give you 2 or 3 takeaways each and every single week. That way there's more for you to do and it's less overwhelming. And I really appreciate Max Living for giving us this idea, giving us this opportunity to spread it out over multiple weeks for you guys. I'll talk about here in just a little bit what the schedule is going to be. So we're going to for the classes going forward. So let's go ahead and let me find my mouse here. Where did it go? Uh-oh. What's going on here? Little technical difficulties. Well, there we go. Oh, I was using the wrong mouse. That might be why. So here we go. Let's get back to it. All right. So our purpose, Greenwood Family Chiropractic, Max Living, our purpose is we really want to set the standard for natural healthcare where everyone's empowered to live to their fullest potential. That's our goal. That's our drive. That's our mission. So that you don't have to walk the path that probably many of your family members did before you, a path of sickness, disease, medications, surgeries that ultimately leave you feeling powerless, sick, defeated, and just, you know what, there's got to be something better. So that's what our goal is for you guys as our patients. And if you're a guest tonight, thank you for joining us. I think I see a couple guests on here, so that's fantastic. I'm Dr. Grant from Greenwood Family, but that's our goal. We want to help you guys live an empowered life where you're in control, you're in charge of your health, and really medical doctors, our traditional Western medicine is really just there for emergency or crisis situations. Because when it comes down to it, the state of health in the United States is awful. I used to have to share multiple stats and statistics and different research articles showing that. But that's one thing that I'm really encouraged with in today's day and age is like Americans are getting it. They're waking up to the fact that we are sick. We're diseased. We're over-medicated. Approximately 71.6% of adults over the age of 20 are overweight or obese. 6 out of 10, so 60% of adults have a chronic disease. Heart disease, number one lead. I mean, I can read you those statistics. They're on the screen so you can read them for yourself. But really, when it comes down to it, these statistics are really alarming. Interestingly enough, each one of them it's highly preventable. Disease, 95% of the diseases we encounter are highly, highly, highly preventable. But what we want to do is really look at different models. Let's look at a model of where we currently are, being the disease model versus the health model. So we're going to look at what these are, and the differences between the two, and how really they kind of just, I mean, they're complete opposites from one another. Specifically, let's start with the disease model. How do I want to start here? Our current healthcare model, overwhelmingly traditional Western medicine, is a disease model. It's a let's focus on the symptom. Let's focus on the disease. How do we manage it to where it doesn't really get worse, but it also doesn't really get better? Some of you maybe have seen the commentary about Bill Maher about where he's talking about there's no money in dead people because they're dead. There's no money in healthy people. All the money is right in the middle with sick people. Not really moving in a direction of getting them healthy, but we also got to keep them just alive just long enough so we can collect their insurance premiums, we can collect their copays, we can collect their insurance, we can collect money while they're sick, and we're managing their sickness, not actually getting them well. I mean, and really, and it's the disease model is the result of chronic disease, the chronic disease numbers, chronic illness, and obesity in the United States. Versus, I mean, really. So let's ask this: does the disease model work? Does it work? Kind of already answered that. No, it doesn't work because it works, and depending upon your goal. If your goal is to keep people sick and make money off those sick people, then yes, it's working wonderfully. It's doing an amazing job at that. Because the average monthly cost of chemotherapy for a cancer patient is $1,000 to $12,000 a month. Average medications is $1,200 a month. Average cost of heart surgery, $324. So, and we wonder why medical bills are the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the United States. Some of you may have heard me recently tell a story about my cousin Shayla. She is recently going through this disease model of healthcare. She is 34 years old. She's from my mom's side of the family. She's the life of the party. She walks into a room, and I tell you guys, the energy just shifts. She is a bright ball of energy, just an amazing gal, love her to death. She does all things production, Broadway. She was a fine arts major at Florida State University, and graduated with a Bachelor in Fine Arts. She traveled with Broadway. She does work with the Tony Awards. She owns her own production company. I mean, she is just a phenomenal individual. Funny story. She actually performed a marriage ceremony for some friends of hers. And she did one of those become an ordained minister online things so you can perform a marriage ceremony. She paid the extra $15 to become a licensed Jedi Knight. That's Shayla in a nutshell. Back in January, she had come home. She was living in New York City, lived in Manhattan, and she lived in an old apartment building. So there's no elevator. So she was having to climb 4 flights of stairs with her production equipment. Gets to the top floor, gets to her apartment, and she couldn't catch her breath. You know, it's winter in New York, thinking, okay, maybe it's flu, maybe it's pneumonia, something along those lines. So she goes to urgent care, and checking for pneumonia, they took a chest x-ray to see if there was fluid in the lungs. Well, they didn't like what they saw, so they referred her to New York Presbyterian Hospital. And they ran a bunch of tests, and what I'm going to show you is her bill from the first day in the hospital. Do the math. That ends up just from January 28th of this year, just that single day, she racked up over $223,000 in medical bills. Then followed the diagnosis. She had lymphoma. She had a tumor in her chest about the size, somewhere between a grapefruit and a football, I think is what my aunt told me. And then began her treatment. And so all of those different charges was even before the diagnosis. So then follow up with average cost of chemotherapy per month, $1,000 to $12,000. Fortunately for her, she did really great and responded really well to treatment. So she only had to go through 6 months of treatment for chemo. I mean, you look at other people who aren't as lucky, who aren't as young, and don't respond as well to treatment, and they're looking at a month. So over $144,000 in treatment, plus the initial treatment day, $221,000. So that's well over 350. I think my math's not the best. $350,000 in bills coming at you. So, so I think the answer is quite clear. No, the disease model does not work unless you're interested in paying that exorbitant amount of money. It does not work one bit. So what do we need to do to make sure that we don't end up in this model much like my cousin did? We need to focus on improving your health. How do we improve your health? Sorry, looking at my notes here real quick. So, I mean, I just told you Shayla's story. What other stories are there? How can we improve your health? Many of you who are on here watching this evening, have seen radical improvement in your health as part of being part of the Max Living Network. Whether it was just something as simple as getting out of pain that prevented you from having to go back to the spine specialist for more injections or opioid medications. Others of you who maybe had more weight loss goals or hormonal imbalances that were as a result of having too much weight on your body. And just the overall imbalance that it takes a toll on your body. And that's our goal here at Greenwood Family and part of the Max Living Network, is to help you do what you can to, again, take ownership of your health, improve it, so you don't ever walk that disease model path. Excuse me. So what's the alternative to the disease model? The health model. So it's the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite of the disease model. Many of you know, we just got back from a Max Living seminar in Orlando just last month. Yeah, beginning of last month. There's a quote there, just because I took a snapshot of it, so I'm just looking up at my phone real quick. There was a quote there from B.J. Palmer. B.J. Palmer was the developer of chiropractic, son to D.D. Palmer, the founder. While other professions, this was his quote, while other professions are concerned with changing the environment to suit the weakened body, chiropractic is concerned with strengthening the body to suit the environment. So, in 2020, everything going on with COVID-19, what are we doing? As a society, as a whole, we are trying to change the environment to suit the weakened body. Masks, lockdowns, vaccine development. That's where the focus is right now. How do we change the environment to make sure that we don't die from COVID? Well, how about we take the health model approach and say, okay, what can I do for my body to make it stronger to suit a dangerous environment? What can I do to strengthen my body so that if I am exposed to the virus and I do become infected by it, is my body strong enough to be able to fight it off and be part of that 99.99997% survival rate? And not part of the people who, unfortunately, in like death in any scenario, whether it's from COVID, from heart disease, from cancer, whatever it may be, it's sad. Those numbers are still people's lives. And no, they didn't have to die, but not because we're blaming mismanagement or whatever it may be. And this is, sorry, I don't intend to be political here, but that shouldn't be part of the conversation. If we as individuals take responsibility for our own health and do what we can to make the body strong enough to suit the environment, it's a non-issue. And that's what the issue with the health model is. You know, our medical model, our disease model says, okay, what causes the individual to die? That's the disease model. The health model, the chiropractic approach, the max living approach, is what causes the body to live, what causes the body to thrive and be strong. You know, Darwinism said survival of the fittest. It's really not survival of the fittest. It's more of who's able to adapt and change. How do we change the where we're living now to improve what we're doing going forward? So that's the goal here of the health model. So what's the answer? How can we reverse statistics and promote a healthy lifestyle changes for disease reduction? And really it comes down to the 5 essentials of max living. So you've got core chiropractic, you've got nutrition, you've got mindset, oxygen and exercise, and minimizing toxins. So why are there 5 essentials? Well, really each and every single one of these 5, when mismanaged or neglected, lead to some form of interference with the body. And that ultimately leads to dysfunction, dis-ease, or disease, sickness, ill health. So we want to work with these 5 to make sure we're optimizing health so that our body, again, is strong enough to suit or handle the environment that we're faced with. So really, when it comes to big change, regardless of any situation, big change in life, period, like me moving from North Carolina to Indiana, that was a big change. Kind of scared about it. Changing jobs, same career, it was scary. I was coming into a new office that I didn't know any of the patients. I knew Dr. Leanne. That was really about it. I knew her husband. That's it. It was a scary situation. But for a lot of people, any kind of change brings about a bit of fear. Throw in that it's 2020 and the fear of the unknown is rampant with everything. It's fear of unknown of COVID, fear of the unknown of the vaccine they're developing, fear of the unknown of it's an election year. Media portraying one candidate in a certain light that makes you afraid of them. The other side of media portraying another candidate that makes you afraid of them. The biggest thing to do here is, yes, overcome your fear. It's quick, it's an easy slogan, overcome your fear, but doing what you can to make sure that you take care of yourself in a manner that blocks out all of those different factors in life. How am I preparing myself? How am I taking care of myself from a mindset standpoint, from an overall health standpoint, so that those fears are overcome with ease and can move on with life. So we're going to talk about all of these different things that we can do to overcome that fear in the next 6 weeks. Today, week 1, introduction to the 5 essentials. If you're a patient, I hope we've done a good job in helping you understand what they are. But if not, that's what today's about. Week 2, next week is the 29th, I believe. Yep. Next Thursday, the 29th, we're going to be talking about viruses. Dr. Leanne's going to be talking about it. It's an in-house event. So you want to make sure if you're coming to the office, it is limited seating because we are still working on social distancing in the office. But if you want to join us in-house, make sure that you get signed up because seating will be limited for that. Week 3, we'll be back online with me, be doing cancer awareness. Dr. Leanne's going to be doing week 4 for nervous system. I will then week 5, next level nutrition and detoxification. Excuse me. We'll be back in the office, or we will be back in. Goodness, excuse me. We'll be back in the office with me on week 5, and then the fitness plan with Dr. Leanne. Week 6 is the week of Thanksgiving. So that one will be done online, but it will also be on a Monday, if I remember correctly. So that's the schedule coming up for this Masterclass series. So 6 weeks in a row. So let's go ahead and jump in with the overview of the 5 essentials. First, mindset. What kind of mindset do you have? Do you have a success mindset? Do you have a failure mindset? Do you have a mindset of abundance or of lack? Do you have a mindset of fear or courage? I mean, when it comes to it, mindset is developing a plan, developing goals so that you are set up for success. Because if you don't set goals and you don't have the right mindset, you should probably, candidly, prepare to fail. So you want to set yourself up with a healthy mindset toward lifestyle change. That, and let me be clear when I say this, that does not mean perfection. None of us are perfect. There will be times where you fall short, and you can look at it as failure or just setting you up for further success. One of my mentors always used a bow and arrow analogy. It's like the arrow has to go backward before it gets launched forward. So those setbacks are really just a set up for future success. A lot of cliches here, I know. But still, it's like those are things that often stick with us and let us know that, hey, you know what? It's okay to be human. It's okay to have setbacks and failures. And it's just what you do in those moments of learning about yourself, learning about the process that you employed that will allow you to, again, take the next step and move forward again. So developing that mindset, a goal-oriented mindset, and taking daily action with each of those goals to move forward toward your ultimate line, your ultimate goal line, your ultimate line of success. Core chiropractic, Greenwood Family Chiropractic. You think that you were going to get through a workshop without being taught about chiropractic? Because we all know from 6th and 7th grade science what system in the body controls every single function in the body. Let's see. Hey, Dana. Office classes will be live also. Great question. We will not working on that. Yes, they will be available online. We're trying to work out if it's going to be live while we're teaching the class, or if it's something that we'll pre-record and then post online at a later date and time. But yes, the classes that are in live in office will also be available online. So you will not miss any of the great info that we'll be sharing with you. Let's see. So nervous system. Nervous system controls every single function of the body. No question about it. It's just the way it works. From the brain, down the spinal cord, out over the nerves, going out to the heart, to the lungs. Telling those organ systems how to function to sustain life. It doesn't happen any other way. Because when you have that interference, brain doesn't communicate effectively with the body. Some research has, and I've shared this with numerous patients, there's research out there that shows that just the weight of a dime, 8 millimeters of pressure, is enough to decrease the nerve's function between 60 and 70%. That's huge. That's immense. Because you think about cardiac patients, for example, and many people have a friend, family, loved one who was diagnosed with heart disease. When those patients find out that their arteries are blocked by 60 or 70%, what's the response from their doctor? Whoa, we got to do something quick. Here's your cholesterol lowering medication. Here's your blood pressure medication. Here's the angioplasty that we might have to do. You go in there with a balloon and close things, open things up. It's a big response. It is a excited, we got to do something now response. But what if that's the nerve that's going to the heart that's blocked by 60 or 70%? Just as important, if not more so, because that heart is literally, that nerve is telling the heart how to beat. So if it's blocked by 60 or 70%, you're only getting 30, 40% of the brain's communication to the heart that needs to be there. So that's how important the nervous system is. Often Dr. Mann and I use Christopher Reeve's story. Fell off his horse. Atlas, C1 broke, and that was enough to shut everything down. Pacemaker for the heart, respirator, ventilator to breathe, feeding tube to eat, wheelchair for mobility for the rest of his life. So C1 is super important, but any kind of interference along the path can have the same effect. I mean, if he were to have that same broken vertebra injury down around T12 or L1, he's going to have mobility and function of his upper extremity and everything up above. Anything T12 or L1 or below, you're quadriplegic situation. Digestive tract's not going to function optimally. Reproductive organs aren't going to function optimally. That's just how the nervous system works. So we want to make sure that we're keeping nervous system healthy as much as we possibly can through corrective and chiropractic care, because it's not about how you feel. It's about how you heal. Healing being a function of the body. Health is your body's ability to heal, not just the mere absence of sickness or disease. So we want to be working in a manner that you've got 100% function going out to all those vital organs to sustain homeostasis, to sustain life. Moving on to nutrition. So, what does a healthy diet mean? I hate the word diet because diet often implies restriction. Diet is a short-term thing, where the word nutrition, in my opinion, is better because that's how you eat. Either you've got nutrition that's feeding disease on a regular basis, or you've got nutrition that is fighting disease or feeding health, taking you back to that disease versus health model. What nutritional choices are we making that take us on the path to health? Because a poor diet is a huge source of interference. If you are eating, sugars, processed foods, poor soda, especially when it comes to obesity, being overweight, being obese, nutrition is the main culprit in that. Lack of exercise, sure, but depends on what you're putting in your body that is ultimately leading to that weight gain that's feeding disease or fighting disease. So what do we focus on? Food by God versus food by man. We tend to overcomplicate nutrition, and it leads to confusion as to what's considered healthy versus unhealthy. And that's why nutritional recommendations have swung left and right so drastically over the years. From back in the 80s to that all fat was bad, don't eat fat. Well, don't eat fat is what ultimately led to America being so obese. Because when you take food out of fat out of food, it becomes really bland tasting. There's no flavor at all. So what did they have to do to make food flavorful? Load it up with sugar and other chemicals. That's what ultimately led to people becoming obese, heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes. Then now you fast forward 40 years, the early sorry. It's been a long day. I can't talk y'all apparently. But the 20 teens, keto, more than 70% fat in your diet, and people are losing weight left and right on that. So it's like like huge swings left and right, nutritional recommendations. But really, if you just focus on natural foods, food by God versus food by man. If it's a plant, 95%, 99% of the time, probably okay to eat it. If it's made in a plant, probably something you want to avoid because of preservatives and other chemicals and just things that aren't healthy for you. So you want to count chemicals, not calories. Things like BPA, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, nitrates, glyphosate, phthalates. The FDA has approved over 1,000 different food additives and chemicals to enhance taste, smell, visual appearance. A lot of foods have the dyes to enhance that color, so it's pleasing to the eye to make you want to eat it. And it's these things that build up in the body, and we'll talk about this here with toxicity in just a second, but it's those things that build up in the body that lead to food intolerances, allergies, and leading to that level of sickness and disease as a result of things that we're putting into our body. First and foremost, when it comes to your nutrition, there's a change you're going to make. You want to replace processed foods. So things that sugar-filled, like prepackaged granola bars that are just loaded with sugar. Like, for example, Cliff Bars. Like on a lot of the Cliff Bars, the first ingredient is brown rice syrup, which is another name for sugar. So it's loaded with sugar. Like you want to switch that out. Like don't eat this, eat that. Switch that out for the essential bar that we carry here in the office. Switch out frozen dinners for fresh baked chicken and vegetables in the evening, even if it's part of your meal prep. And you can just like put it in the oven and heat it up at a later date. Deli meats, switch that for fresh baked turkey. The Kraft singles cheese slices. I mean, there's really not much cheese in there to begin with. It's mostly just oil. You want to switch out for raw organic cheese and then switch out chips for kale chips or carrots or something like that. Because processed foods have to go through some sort of chemical process to preserve them for a longer shelf life. Well, that's more chemicals that you're putting into your body, making it unhealthy for you. And the food supply in the United States is so deprived of nutritional value that what do you do for proper health? And for those nutrient deficiencies, that's when you need to get on a vitamin protocol, a vitamin regimen to fill in the blank spaces in sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. Forgive me. The deficiencies in your nutrition plan. And that's where Max Living's done a fantastic job of providing us with great nutraceuticals. I mean, just this last year, they came out with the Daily Essentials for men and for women, which is a great pack. It's got a multivitamin suited for men or women. You got the vitamin D3 with probiotics, a B complex with a direct delayed release, so you're getting that boost of vitamin D throughout the day. Optimal omegas, which is great for balancing out the omega 3 to 6 ratio, as well as magnesium glycinate. I'm on this. I love it. A lot of patients who have started taking it relay that they love it as well. I mean, it's a simple, easy pack. Ladies, it's especially great for you. You just grab a handful, throw it in your purse, and you're good to go for several days. And it's super easy for travel when you're going on vacation or whatever the situation or may be for you. Strongly recommend getting in a hold of some daily essentials to really just bolster up your nutrition plan where it may be lacking. So the big thing that this masterclass is geared towards is strengthening your immunity, strengthening your immune system. Dr. Leanne sent me a meme just a couple days ago. It's like, I have a mask. I wear it all the time. It's called my immune system, so I'm wearing it on the inside. And it goes back to that health model versus disease model. It's like, what are you doing to help, and what can you do to help strengthen your immune system so that you got the biggest, baddest mask? It's just on the inside, giving your body what it needs to fight off foreign invaders. And that's where living the 5 essential lifestyle gives you those things to do just that. Because there's research that shows chiropractic helps boost the immune system strength. There's research that shows that eating a proper, healthy, nutritious diet keeps your immune system strong. Because if you eat too much sugar, they've actually shown that sugar is an anti-nutrient, which in turn causes inflammation in the body and decreases your immune system strength. So that's where nutrition comes in. There's been research time and time again that shows that exercise, regular exercise, guess what, y'all, helps to boost your immune system strength. Again, more research out there that shows proper mindset, a positive mental attitude. PMA is what my dad used to tell me when I was a kid. Have a positive mental attitude has immune system benefits. Minimizing toxins in the body. Guess what? Helps with immune system strength. Every one of these essentials not only benefits health overall, but it plays an integral part in keeping your immune system strong. The science is settled, as many people are saying right now. Science is important. Let's focus on science that keeps your immune system strong, because it's out there. There's plenty of it out there. So, moving on to minimizing toxins. Oh, sorry, y'all. I just lost my computer screen. There we go. Got it back. Here we go. Okay. So, minimizing toxins. Because toxins affect the body. And here's the bucket theory of toxicity. So, imagine with bucket theory, it explains really how your body may be toxic, whether or not you feel symptoms as it relates. The body is like a giant bucket. The cells inside the body are little buckets, absorbing toxins, holding on to them. And as the buckets are filling, symptoms may or may not develop. And when they haven't developed, that just means that your body has a tolerance. So for each drop, whether it's pollen, mold, house dust, food, allergies, allergens are going to fall into one of those categories: pollen, mold, house dust, food, whatever it may be, whatever you may be allergic to. Because I've had multiple patients, like, they go in for a food allergy. And I'm like, well, the first time I did a food allergy test, I wasn't allergic to dairy, let's say. I was allergic to, or no, even better. I had a patient who came in one time, and they recently, and they did a food allergy test, and they were allergic to broccoli. They were actually allergic to broccoli. And so they stopped eating broccoli. They started, I think if I remember correctly, they started eating more spinach. And the next time they went for the food allergy test, they were no longer allergic to broccoli. They were now allergic to spinach. What had happened was they had ultimately came down to find out that they had leaky gut syndrome. And when you have leaky gut, whatever you eat the most of is going to get into the bloodstream, not through the means of proper nutrition digestion, but through those leaky gut channels. The body recognizes that as a foreign invader in the form that it's not supposed to be absorbed by, and then forms antigens or antibodies against it to go and attack it. So that's what causes the allergy. And so broccoli and spinach, two things that are healthy for you, they developed allergies to because of the underlying issue of a leaky gut syndrome. But that's how it works. The allergen is, think of the allergen as a single drop of water. The first 500 drops really aren't going to cause an issue because it's within that tolerance. But the next 500 drops after that, start to see that overflow from the bucket, and that's what leads to the symptoms, the sneezing, the wheezing, the itching. So we have to be aware of the different toxins that we're putting into our body that can cause those reactions later on down the road, whether it's cleaning products, personal care products, all of those different things that serve as toxins in the body can lead to an overflow, symptom leading, an overflow reaction leading to ultimately those symptoms are triggered. So there's the toxicity. Lastly, let's learn about types of exercise and their effects on the body. Exercise is essential. It's an essential part of life. Getting up and moving, getting the heart rate going. If you want to lose weight, exercise is an integral part of that as well. It's not as much as we would have been led to believe. It's really an 80-20 split, 80% of what you're eating versus 20% exercise. Abs aren't made in the gym. They're made in the kitchen. But talking about exercise, one of the biggest hindrances for folks exercising is time. It can be very time consuming. So if that's the case for you, the type of high intensity short duration is really what you want to go for. And the two types of exercise. You've got the short duration high intensity exercise, which is what the Max T3 program is. High intensity, going as hard as you can, working to boost your heart rate up over 90% of your maximum heart rate, then so that you see the afterburn effect, where your body continues to burn fat for up to, I think, between 36 and 72 hours post-exercise. It's great for endorphins. It's great for those positive mental hormones. It's great for long-term burning of fat. It's actually really great for human growth hormone, which is to build muscle tone. Ladies, it is not going to make you look like a bodybuilder, even though some people do utilize that in bodybuilding because of that benefit of human growth hormone. Versus classic cardio, where you get on the treadmill and you're on there for an hour, you're at steady state exercise, less than 80% of your heart rate max, and you get to a fat burning zone, but you're only burning fat for the time that you're on the exercise machine. As soon as you step off, boom, that fat burning benefit goes away. And actually, a steady state increases cortisol. Research has been shown that it increases your cortisol levels, which is a fat storing hormone. And that's part of why once you're done with a steady state exercise, you're kind of hungry. You want to go eat something. You want to replenish your glycogen stores, which is comes from carbohydrates. So you have to be careful with that. That's why I much prefer HIIT intensity exercise. Yeah, I'll go to a HIIT class that's an hour long, but it's a fluctuation of your heart rate above and below the fat burning to cardiovascular benefit zone. So let's see, one more. Yep. Okay, so that's it for this initial masterclass workshop. Next week is going to be strengthen your natural defenses, talking about viruses. Again, this one will be in office with Dr. Leanne, so that's next Thursday evening, October 29th at 6:30. Again, seating is limited in the office, so if you're coming in for your regular adjustments, there is a sign-up sheet over at the Events Hub by the water cooler, so make sure you get your name on there so we have a seat saved for you. The question was asked earlier if in class or in office, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Saw your question, Linda, and it totally threw me. 1 second for me. So make sure you get signed up. Limited seating. Don't want to miss it. Got a question. Is there a way to watch this again? Yes. If you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com, look for Greenwood Family Chiropractic. It'll be on there. I also believe that it should be saved to our Facebook page as well. If for some reason it's not on either of those locations, which I don't think that's the case, just give the office a call. That way we know and we can fix the situation for you. Thank you, Sherry. Glad you were able to join us this evening. So thank you all. If you have any questions, I'm going to be here at my desk for the next 5 minutes. So feel free to type those in, ask any questions, and answer those for you, or just shoot me an email at Dr. Grant, DRGRANT, at Greenwood Family Chiropractic. Have a great night. Thank you all again for joining us, and I'll see you in the office soon. Bye.